Good evening. Thank you, and welcome to this evening's meeting. Please stand for the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we're going to start with the approval of the minutes. Um, so motion approving the July 24th, 2024 minutes of the regular meeting of the town board.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and it's carried. Thank you. Bid openings, we don't have anything, but we are moving on to a public hearing this evening. So the public hearing is for the issuance of vehicle service permit regarding the premises situated at 993 Vestal Parkway West, Vestal, New York, and being designated as Broome County Tax Map 172.08-1-2. I'm going to read the legal notice. So notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on August 14th, 2024 at 6 p.m. for the consideration of the issuance of vehicle service permit for a vehicle station permit, regarding the premises situated at 993 Vestal Parkway West in the town of Vestal, New York, and being designated as Broome County Tax Map number 172.08-1-2. Please take further notice that the environmental significance of said proposed permits will be reviewed by the Vestal Town Board of the Town of Vestal incident to and as a part of said public hearing. Therefore, pursuant to statute, the Town Board of the Town of Vestal will hold a public hearing in the Town Boardroom, Vestal Town Hall, 605 Vestal Parkway West, Vestal, New York. At the time of this hearing, all interested persons will be heard, and so we will open the public hearing. Does anybody have any comment or question regarding the issuance of the permit? Sir, can you just stand up and go to the microphone? Thank you.
My name's Tom Worth. I am a resident of Vestal. I live at Wright Road. So where the building, about 7 houses up on the left-hand side, and from this property. So my question is, what kinds of, I'm aware of what the business is, but how is the business, because it is in front of a residential area, going to be made more attractive, let's say? The neighborhood where that is situated, which borders Front Street and goes all the way down, is typically, and for a long time, been a mix of businesses and residences.
Thank you.
But moving up, the hill, when you get to Wright Road, the first thing you see when you turn off Front Street is going to be, for a long time, it was an auto repair shop. There were abandoned cars there. It was unsightly, frankly. And my main concern is, this is going to be a deterrent for people who want to move into the neighborhood, because you get heavy equipment out on this lawn, because one of the proposals, correct me if I'm wrong, is right, to sell and repair and sell heavy equipment. Is that correct?
Small, heavy equipment, not like huge things, I don't believe.
Like, what does that mean? Are there limitations on it? Do we know?
I don't know if you want to comment on it.
Yes.
Okay. So are you finished with your statement?
No, I'm not
And Philly
finished.
question? Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
So do you want to finish
Oh,
up what
sure.
you want to say?
Okay,
And then
so-
if he wants to respond, he can respond, okay?
So, right. So one question is about the equipment, but no, I guess I would just say finally, just in terms of tying this up, my main concern is about, the condition of the neighborhood to begin with, I think is already struggling. And to add in a business that may or may not, without restriction, right, bring in or allow heavy equipment to sit out in the open, for weeks, months, days, if it's not sold, even if it is sold, if it's old equipment, if it's rusted, it's not going to look good. And so from a resident's perspective, we would like to see something done to mitigate, right, that unsightliness, and also to protect property values, frankly.
Okay,
So,
thank you very
yeah.
much. Would you like to answer him or comments in regards? Since you represent, are you the business owner or?
No, I'm the property owner.
Okay,
And then
thank
I'll
you.
introduce the business owner.
Thank you so much.
My name is John Ludwig and I own 983 Vestal Parkway and I have owned it for about 16 years.
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that it wasn't zoned properly when I bought it. And haven't had a problem with it. I'm sorry that it's a little unsightly, but it was an auto repair business for like 60 years before I got it. And then it was a auto repair business for 15 years. And now we have a new potential resident, John LaBavera from John's Tree Service. And yeah, we have to set the limits of what will be there. That's part of why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
John, you want to talk?
Did you want to answer his question in terms of the equipment to be stored or anything like that? Or would you like the owner to?
Okay, the tenant would like to speak.
You're not obligated to, but if you want to explain, yeah. Sure. Can you just go up to the microphone because people watch the videotape and they can't hear if you speak from the seat.
Okay, I'm John LeBevero, trying to open up this business. I just heard a couple of concerns that he had mentioned, as far as stored equipment. He said there was, I understand about unsightly, vehicles and, rental or equipment up there. But the point is that, wasn't that a car dealership before?
Yes.
And I'm not even talking so much to your.
But,
Okay,
Um,
you can't go back and forth in the audience, okay? Yeah,
So the equipment that I'd have there, this is brand new equipment, brand new spider lifts, brand new mini skids. There's gonna be no gigantic excavators, no more than 10,000 pounds as far as equipment. So tractor trailers or anything, that's not gonna be, I'm dealing with a smaller end, being that I was in a tree business for 16 years. So I get used equipment, used trailers, used small things, small log splitters, and we also do generators, paint sprayers, smaller end, because United, Taylor Rental, they're always booked up and costly. So kind of not competition, but as far as smaller end rental, buy here, pay your place. As far as the valued stuff, there is facilities to store inside, so it's not an eyesore. Tons of equipment going to be out there, but again, there is storage facility on site. And
okay. Thank
Yep.
you very much. Appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, with that, we're going to close the public hearing. And we're going to move on to the seeker statement. So the seeker was completed, and I'll read the questions and the answers. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use or zoning regulation? And the answer was no. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, a CEA? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? And the answer was no. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably enough energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? And the answer was no. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or public and private wastewater treatment utilities? And the answers in both cases are no. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? For example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora or fauna? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? And the answer is no. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources, or human health? And the answer is no. Okay, so after the findings, do we have any comments from the board or? Would any board, yeah, okay, very good. So with that, I'll put forth the following statement. The town board of the town of Estill, herein the board, hereby finds and determines that A, it is considered the action reviewed in the environmental assessment form, review the criteria set forth in 6 NYS CRR section 617.7C, thoroughly analyzed the relevant area of potential thoroughly analyzed the relevant area of potential environmental concern and has duly considered all of the potential environmental aspects and their magnitude in connection with proposed project. The project will not result in any large and important environmental impacts, and therefore is one which will not have significant impact on the environment, and therefore a negative declaration will be prepared. And C, the reasons supporting this determination are set forth in the attached form. But we'd also like to add the stipulations of the board. Stipulation number one handicap space will be painted and signed. Number 2, waive section 24-285, which no rental devices or equipment shall be placed on the premises. And J, sales of air rentals of trailers is allowed. And number 3, comply with any 239 comments by the New York State DOT. So with those provisions, would anybody like to move to adopt it?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and seconded?
Second the motion.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so with that, with the close of the public hearing and with the voting, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to supervisors' updates. Number 1, I just wanted to, first of all, thank all our town employees that did an amazing job last Thursday during the storm. Not only our town employees, but our volunteer firemen as well. So I wanted to specifically thank our town engineer, Vern Myers, and his crew, our highway superintendent, Craig Miller, and all of his personnel, our water and sewer director, Scott Groats, and his personnel, our police chief, Stace Kittner, and his officers, and all of our volunteer firemen. They were all out there for the entire storm, doing everything that they could to protect our residents and their property. And it was not an easy task. What we have found, as we have found in the past, is that there are chronic locations that are prone to flooding. And with the intense rain that we got, unfortunately, a lot of houses were lost or partially damaged. So a lot of our residents were hurting. Now, we live in a flood area, and so a lot of areas are flood prone. It is a problem for some of our residents more than others, but it's heartfelt for most of our residents. And most of our residents remember 2011 when it was to the ultimate level. So I just want to tell everybody, number 1, if you lost property, part of your house or all of your house, number 1, I feel for you, as does the board. And number 2, we will be speaking with our town engineer and our highway superintendent and brainstorming some ideas about what can be done. we are all concerned. We will be meeting to try to draw up some plans. Our town engineer already has a lot of ideas. As you know, we are working on applying for funding for a lot of projects that we need. And so we're going to have that meeting tomorrow. Coming out of that, we're going to see what can be done, what we really can't fix, and we're going to prioritize everything that we can do and seek funding to do as much as we can. But it won't be easy and it won't be overnight. So I want you to know that we are working hard for it, and our town employees who are out there the entire time doing everything possible to try to help everybody. So once again, I want to thank them for all of their hard work, and our volunteer firemen, fire personnel as well. I also wanted to say that I've gotten a lot of emails lately, and it's on the agenda for this evening. Because we're going to be discussing and voting on the waiver for the tax. Well, we're going to be bringing up the topic of a waiver for the tax cap. And I want people to understand that this is not about the town tax this year. What it is that the fire department is separating from the town. We are the last one in New York State to do it, and is required by law. And in doing that, their budget comes off the town budget, and they are moving towards independence. So that's a long process, but we're well in the middle of it. They're leaving the town umbrella, but EMS needs a direct tax now. And so the town is taking on EMS, and they will have a direct tax going forward. That's been discussed separately. If we don't help them out, and if they're not able to raise funds, they will not be able to survive. So I want you to understand that tax waiver that we are going to be discussing and voting on is about a budget. It is about moving those budgets around. It has nothing to do with the actual taxes of the town directly. And it is something that both our town attorney and our town controller has talked to the state about. And it's just it's a technicality. When they leave and we take the other one on, it automatically goes over the cap. So I also want to tell everybody that going forward, this year, we're going to be doing the budget a little differently. When we will be beginning budget discussions very soon. Our meetings are going to be different this year in that every Monday, beginning September, we will be having our board meetings with our department heads publicly and on videotape, so that everybody in Vestal can watch it from the town website if they so choose. And you will see as we go through the budget process, the choices are not easy and it will be difficult, but you will see exactly what goes on, and you'll be able to talk to board members during the process via email or if you attend the meetings. So please be reassured that the tax levy that we're talking about really is not pertinent to the actual town taxes, but you will be fully aware and involved in that whole process that year. But with that, I don't want to take up any more time, but I just want to clarify because I know some residents were concerned. But you will have a say in the tax process this year more than ever before. So with that, I want to move on to the privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is a first section for the public to have a question or comment put forward. But the first section is for specifically the agenda items only. Please remember, with all public comment, please keep it to 3 minutes. Please be respectful to everybody in the room, and please speak only to the board. So does anybody have any questions or comments on the agenda items this evening? Sir?
Good evening. Tom McCartney, a resident of Bun Hill Road. I've been a resident of Vestal for 48 years, a member of the Volunteer Fire Department in Vestal for 45 years, currently the chair of the governance committee that is working with the town board on this separation of the fire district from the town. As we're going to move forward into this next section and talk about that, I'd like to make note that the fire organization was formed in 1927 in its current form. In the 30s, the group of firefighters came to the town board and attempted to do what we're doing tonight. In the 1940s, they attempted to do the same thing. They were turned away and the board said, no, we're going to leave it the way it's going. Around 2015, we attempted to do this and the town board said, no, we're going to leave it like it is. So I want to commend this board for listening to what we've had to say. And in 2024, we are going to take this monumental step to make this right and do this properly and form an actual fire district under town law. So thank you. Appreciate your work, your collaboration, your patience with us and willing to listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you've worked really hard. Tremendous effort, a tremendous amount of work from all of the members of the governance committee who have gone through the budgets, worked incredibly hard to do all of the legal stuff involved. So thank you for all of your work and all of the members of the governance committee. So with that, we will close the privileges of the floor. And we're going to move on to the resolutions and motions. And the resolutions and motions for this evening are concerning the fire district. So 7.11, which is the vote on the fire district determination following public hearing prior to fire district vote. Okay. So first, there's a lot of procedures involved. So we're going to start with that.
Those three,
Yep.
the board will have to make those three determinations.
Okay, so the board first has to make three determinations. So regarding and that's by regulation, regarding the establishment of the Vestal Fire District under Town Law 170, I will ask the board to make three determinations. Number one, will the property owners located within the proposed fire district benefit by its creation? Number two, are all the property owners located within the proposed fire district included in it? And number three, is it in the public's interest to form this fire district? Okay, so if it's in the affirmative, does anybody have a move to accept that? Thank you, Sue. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. And with that, we move on to. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, I don't have to read the whole resolution, so I will not. Okay, so the resolution is forming a new Vestal Fire District under Town Law 170, replacing the existing Vestal Fire District to bring the fire district in compliance with New York State law. So do we have a motion? Thank you. And seconded?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay.
It's about time.
Oh, yeah.
Good discussion.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we are the last state, the last town to have the separation, and we are finally going to be in compliance with New York State law. So that's a good thing. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. And it's carried. Okay, and 7.1.3, which is a resolution for 2024 Consolidated Funding Application, CFA, Office of Planning, Development and Community Infrastructure, OPDCI, Smart Growth Community Planning and Zoning Grant, New York State Department of State, DOS, Comprehensive Plan Update with Smart Growth Principles Projects. And do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
And seconded?
Second.
Thank you. And just a reminder, this is a vote on the applying for a grant for funding for a comprehensive plan committee. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried. Thank you. And the second one is a resolution for 2024 Consolidated Funding Application, CFA, Water Quality Improvement Program, New York State Department of Conservation, Salt Reduction Plan. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. And just a reminder, this is the application for funding for highway equipment to reduce the use of salt. And thanks to our highway superintendent, he has a fabulous plan to help us to do that. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hi, Chief. Thank you.
And it's carried. And it's carried unanimously. Very good. And Steve?
All right, 8.1.1, request from Scotts Roads Water and Wastewater Superintendent, the town board to approve hiring Damian Bianchem, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna try. Retroactively as labor with a starting rate of 21.22 an hour. Background and drug tests have been completed. Start date will be 8/12/24.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. Thank you. And Sue?
Finance. 9.1.1, authorization to advertise on August 15, 2024 for a public hearing to be held on Wednesday, August 21, 2024, or a later date if necessary. The public hearing is for proposed law, local law F of 2024. A local law to override the tax levy limit established in general municipal law 3C.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Question. We need
Discussion?
discussion. Yes.
sorry.
Resident did email in that August 21st being next Wednesday is in a time frame where many people are still trying to finish up their vacations over the summer. So many people may not be able to make this kind of a meeting. This is kind of an important meeting. So the request is to postpone it a week or maybe into early September if possible.
So,
That's a motion.
so I have
Oh,
a,
okay.
I have a point of,
Second.
Or it can't be heard.
So no second.
No second.
okay. Thank you. Okay, so, we vote on the original? one? Okay, so then all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and it's carried. And then the next
Nine.
one, Sue?
9.1.2, request from Jessica Farley, Deputy Comptroller, for approval of a police department budget amendment to transfer $358.82 from the miscellaneous police grants line A3120-4389, the operational equipment line A3120-2100, to transfer the funds from canceled old ammunition order to cover new ammunition expenses. And I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And it's carried. Next one?
9.1.3, request from Jessica Farley, Deputy Comptroller, for approval of a Water Department budget amendment to transfer $4,000 from the main replacement line W8340-3000 to the fluoridation operating expense line W8330-4313 to cover fluoridation costs.
Okay, thanks. Motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. And it's, any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, Steve?
10.1.1, authorization for Patrick Harnon, recreation planner, to retroactively hire Ava Schmidt as a girls' basketball camp instructor as outlined in his August 8th, 2024 memo. Start date and rate of pay are also identified in the memo, which is included in the addendum.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried.
10.1.2, authorization for Nick Angeline, comptroller, to hire Tammy Kunis from deputy clerk in the clerk's office by way of departmental transfer to the position of senior account clerk, CSEA grade 4, effective August 26, 2024. Such lateral transfer will result in her pay rate of pay $24.45.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. And the next one, Sue?
Planning and zoning, request from Vern Myers, town engineer, for the town board to review the materials regarding the construction of a diesel fuel storage tank and fueling station for Casella waste vehicles. If in agreement, please approve a publication date of August 21, 2024 for a public hearing on August 28, 2024.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay. You don't have anything under public safety unless you want to add something, Sue?
Just about everything on the agenda is public safety tonight.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
covered it.
True. Very true. Okay, so we'll move on to administration, which is Robert.
13.1.1, authorization for the town supervisor to sign a lease agreement with a new tenant of the Coal House.
Okay, so a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, receive and file?
Warrants 2024, 31G, 311, 31C, 31I, 31C, 31M, 31T, 32G, 32C, 42M, 32T. So these break down the G.
It was 32M, so no problem.
32M.
Just a point of correction.
Thank you. So if it was G, it was a weekly general operating expenditures for both of the weeks. I is June self-insurance premium expenditures. C is weekly capital expenditures for both weeks. 31M, 32M, weekly health insurance claim expenditures. 32T, weekly FSA, flexible spending account expenditures.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and we're also moving to accept the clerk's monthly report, right? Thank you. Okay, we don't have any petitions and protests. We don't have any old business. We do have new business. 16.1.1, authorization to approve the agreement between the town of Vestal and the Vestal Police Chief Stace Kittner for the town supervisor to sign the agreement. Okay, so do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And it's carried. And thank you to Stace for all of his hard work. And 16.1.2, authorization for the town supervisor to countersign an easement agreement with Taylor Garbage pertaining to property located at 3014 Vestal Road. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, and 16.1.3, authorization to advertise on August 19th, 2024 for a public hearing on August 28th, 2024 regarding the dissolution of the existing fire district as a part of the process of establishing a new fire district. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Sorry, said with enthusiasm. So moved.
Any discussion?
Second.
Okay, yes.
Just for the record, this is kind of the flip side. This is the compliment to.
We just wanna.
Thank you.
People
Oh, good.
people are actually listening to us on the video, so.
Right. So this is just this is going to be another resolution that we're going to vote on. It's kind of the flip side to the establishment of the new fire district. We've been advised by the Office of State Controller that we have to, as a consequence of establishing a new fire district, which is going to be separate and apart from the town government and is going to assume all of the obligations of the existing fire district, that the existing fire district has to, at the same time, in other words, simultaneously, be dissolved. So there won't be any gap. One will move into the other. So tonight we didn't finalize anything as far as the establishment of the fire district, because that will require some subsequent action, including the dissolution and including the passage of the permissive referendum period of time and the filing and approval with the Office of the State Controller. So we have accomplished that tonight, part one, and we're moving on to part two, which is necessary to accomplish our goal.
Thank you very much. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
I did,
Thank you.
with
And-
enthusiasm.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? Excellent. And it's carried. So with that, we'll move on to supervisors' announcements. Just one announcement. This Saturday night, fingers crossed, weather permitting, we will have our festival night at the Rumble Ponies Stadium. And the first pitch will be at 6:07 p.m. If you're wearing Vesta colors, you do get a discount in there. 2 of our town employees will be throwing out the first balls at the stadium, and they will be highlighting Vestal areas in Vestal on the big screens. So I hope that a lot of people can join us. So with that, we will move on to.
Excuse me,
committee-
Maria,
Yep.
do we know who those employees are?
Mhm. I don't have their names offhand.
I didn't ask the question, Glenda.
Mhm.
I don't know who they are either.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Just ask.
Then it'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
You have to go to the game to find
I
out.
just,
Yes.
that's a good point. Good
We will be, they'll be announcing it that night. No, but they were rained out one day, so no, I don't have their names handy. I'm sorry. So with that, we will move on to committee chair and comments. So do any committee chairs have anything to add?
Public safety wise,
Mhm.
Station 2 did an amazing job. I was there for as much of the flood as I could be in my neighborhood, so it's awesome to see them turn out and assist with the neighbors and making sure they didn't go under swiftly moving water.
Absolutely.
So we have a water main project that's gonna be happening on Old Vestal Road. That's gonna start on Monday. It's between Gates Road, and Bun Hill Road. It's gonna be restricting traffic access on the eastbound lane. It's gonna take place again between this Monday, August 19th through September 30th, 2024, roughly, I'm assuming. And will be performed between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. with the goal of minimizing commuting and travel disturbances. So it will be reduced to one lane, but so there will be a little bit of that will be occurring. So residents be aware and take alternate routes if you prefer.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, with that, anyone else? I'm sorry, Sue.
So I would just like to say thank you, a big thank you to the interim fire commissioners who spent many, many, many hours, more than I could ever possibly count, working on the project to develop the fire district into an independent fire district. As Commissioner McCartney said earlier, we've been working on this for a long time. I think it was Dan Kirchheimer, 10 years, right? We've been working on this, and it's a huge, huge project. Every single person involved is a volunteer. And so my hats are off to them. They did an amazing job, and I'm proud to work alongside of them.
Absolutely. All our thanks. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the last segment for the public comments. So does anybody have any questions or comments? And these are on any topics at all pertaining to town, of course. Okay, with that, do we do we have a- yes. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Thank you. And
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for attending. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Because I need somebody, I don't know.